My name is Efe West, and welcome to another episode of Afro Scientific Spirituality. Today, I'm going to be talking about the coronavirus and religion, and also spirituality. This topic is necessitated by the fact that I have seen so many religious and spiritual people saying that they are not going to take the coronavirus vaccine, and they are saying this because they don't trust the government, and they believe that the government is trying to disseminate a mind control program or a sort of DNA recalibration experiment or agenda through this worldwide vaccine program. They are very, very strong in this belief that the government is trying to change their DNA to make them more stupid, more susceptible to instructions. In fact, they believe the government have a plan to zombify the earth, a population, to turn us to zombies. That this vaccine is going to turn us to zombies in the future, mindless slaves of the government. So they have swelled by their life and everything they believe in. So vowing over their dead body, they are not going to take this coronavirus vaccine. And they believe that anybody that have taken this vaccine are not in their right minds. They are a traitor, they are sheep, and they are not to be trusted. So I want to talk about this issue today. As you all know, I study and practice African spirituality, and I am also an aspiring scientist, and I am also a humanist as well. I'm a family man. I want to express my views about this issue from all this perspective. Why I think that we should reconsider our stance on the vaccine, and my reasons for supporting the vaccination program, that it is not a zombification project by the worldwide governments. Okay, so let's take this from an historical standpoint. First of all, this vaccination program was initiated by the World Health Organization due to the events of the coronavirus coming out into general population. Whether the virus was man-made, was scientifically produced in a lab in Wuhan, China, or it occurred naturally, it doesn't really matter to me at this point. The fact of the matter is that the virus is here now. It is in every country. It is killing people. It is mutating, and it is spreading more and more, becoming more powerful and difficult to stop. And the only way the government have been able to develop, and also the World Health bodies, is what they are trying to do: mass vaccination, isolation, quarantine, maintaining of good personal hygiene. And that is what they are trying to do. Wearing of your masks, social distancing. If we review science and religion right from the beginning of their inception, we will see that science has always conflicted with religion on many grounds. We can trace this conflict openly right from the time of the 14th century, When the Christian religion took hold of Europe and they started the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition, and the other following Inquisitions as well. They were forcing people to convert to Christianity. They were killing people that hold any contrary view or alternate view about the religion. Most of their victims were scientists that were into serious research about science and technology, people like Joe, De Bruno, Turing, and Galileo. Simple scientists that postulated ideas that the world is round and is not flat. They were burned to death by the Christians. Anybody that is trying to do things after Christianity have been killed. So religion and spirituality and scientists, and science, they are not really together on many issues. They are like strange bedfellows. So people that are on the side of religion always believe that their religion is supreme to any other thing on this planet, that their religion is supreme to science. And science believe that religion does not make sense. For instance, we consider the two definitions. Science tries to explain how the world works through empirical evidence and explanations, verifiable explanations that can be proven and reduplicated. Religions just believe on subjective belief of the creation of the world by God. Without any kind of explanation, they just want you to believe something without proving it. That is the issue with religion. And that is the same issue I have against religion. That is why I don't support religion. I don't even like talking about religion, so that I will not be accused of religious intolerance or persecuting them. But in this particular case, I have to talk about religion because of the coronavirus, and also I want to express the facts of the matter. I have also seen many spiritualists on the left-hand part, the right-hand part, that also believe that this vaccination by the government is a zombification project, and they are not also going to take the vaccine. They don't want to also believe in science in this very situation. So I'm also putting them together in this very video. First of all, we can look at the planet. We as human beings is the highest form of animal on this planet. In the animal kingdom of the earth, human beings are the number one. We are the head of the animal kingdom. We control this planet. We decide what happens upon this planet. Okay? Since none of us have seen God in religion or in spirituality, nobody can say they have seen God. I would naturally assume that human beings are the physical representation or agents of God on this planet. Religion says we are made in the image of God, meaning our image is God's image. God has a eye, has a face, has a head, like human beings. Let's explore that further. They may be right. Science say that we are the most highly evolved creatures on this planet. I think they are also right as well. Okay. Now let's look at nature. When we look around our physical environment, what do we see? We see the earth, the sea, the trees, the sky. We have never seen God. So, if we are looking for God, we can only search for Him in the things we can see every day, which we have been doing, which science have been doing, when we interact with the earth, with the plants, with the other animals, with the sea, we see when we interact with every other aspect of life on this planet, we can see expressions of intelligent life forms on this planet that we have no way of how they were created. We can only assume that these were created by a higher intelligence more than us, which we call God in religion. Science will say they are higher intelligence that evolve by themselves, because science too is also looking for the source of life on this planet. Okay. When we look at nature, we find that nature is not exactly perfect as it is. Yes, nature is not perfect. The world is kind of still in the process of creation. Why I say that nature is not perfect? If nature is perfect in the physical world, we will not be having natural disasters in so many places and a very high rate of occurrences all over the world. We have always been having natural disasters on this earth. I will not attribute it to climate change. Natural disasters have been happening for thousands, maybe millions of years before we even know about climate change that is happening just about 50 to 100 years ago. We have so many types of natural disasters, tornadoes and severe storms, hurricane, tropical winds, floods, fire, wildfires. These are started by lightning strike. Lightning will just strike a forest and then we'll have fire burning down the whole forest and houses. We have earthquakes. We have droughts. We have snowstorms. All this happen all over the world. And these are not man-made. It occurs naturally. We say they are they are acts of God, and they kill millions of people every year when they happen. We cannot say these are the works of the devil. If they are the works of the devil, then nature is also the devil, and nature is also God. So this phenomenon is the reason I always stand by the assertion that good and evil coexist amicably together. Because without one, we cannot define the other one. So, based on these natural disaster occurrences in every part of the world, I can say that nature is not perfect. So, in essence, I can conclude that God is not perfect. And this is a fact. God is not perfect. This is something that my religious brothers and sisters, so many of them, will not accept. They don't even want to entertain these thoughts that there's a possibility that God that created this planet may not be perfect. He is probably still in his own evolutionary process trying to redefine himself, because if he was perfect, why are we having natural disasters like this occurring in every part of the world that kills millions of life forms, destroys part of the planet, kills so many living people? My religious brothers, why does God use natural disasters to kill so many human beings on a yearly basis? Does he not love them? Or does he hate them? We need to ask ourselves this question, that we should entertain the fact that there's a possibility that God is not perfect because nature is not perfect. And humans are not also perfect as well. We know this first one, right? That humans are not perfect. We say this all the time. So we should also accept that God is not perfect. And we can see that nature is not perfect. Look at the earth. The earth has mood swings. The earth is like a teenager. It's not even like an adult. The earth behaves like a teenager. The character of the earth is very unpredictable. Sometimes the earth is happy. Sometimes the earth is sad. Sometimes the earth is depressed. Sometimes the earth is overexcited. Sometimes the earth is very, very, very hungry. The earth is unpredictable. It's like a teenage girl on maybe on a period or something like that. I don't know. Or another crazy situation on steroid. We need to accept this fact that the earth is not perfect. The mood swings, changes. The earth is always behaving like an unpredictable teenager that is trying to discover themselves. The earth is still young compared to with the way the earth behaves, the unpredictable behavior. The earth does not behave like a fully matured planet to me, to be honest. So nature is not perfect. Whatever created this planet, this earth, is not a perfect deity. It is still studying, evolving, and redefining itself. Just like we humans as well are not perfect and are also studying, learning, redefining, trying to improve ourselves. If we can accept this fact that God is not perfect, it will solve many of the problems we are facing in our spiritual practices and in our religious practices as well. There was a saying in one movie I watched that when God makes mistakes, he calls it nature. When humans make mistakes, they call it sin. Food for thought. Now, coronavirus is here. Whether it occurred in China or Russia or America does not matter. It was a mistake made by human beings, and that mistake is now killing people on the planet. So, what can we do about it? How do we attend or solve this mistake? We go to history. Science, once again, has come up with ideas for solving this kind of problems. And they have brought out the vaccines for this virus. But people don't want to take them because they don't trust the government. If we look at the history of science, we can see that this is not the first worldwide vaccination program that have been run by the WHO in the world. WHO has been very successful in using vaccination programs to eradicate so many diseases on this planet. There are some diseases that when they came out, they were very, very dangerous and killed millions of people. But with the help of the advancement of science and effective vaccination programs, those diseases, we don't hear about them anymore. I can give you like 50 examples of such kind of diseases, but for the sake of this video, I will just give you like 14 examples that vaccination program have helped to eradicate. And I believe every human on this planet, at least 99.9% has some form of vaccination, protecting them from various forms of diseases. Even the so-called spiritualists and religionists, extremists out there that are kicking against this vaccine. Many of them have 1 or 2 vaccination shots in their body. Number 1, I would like to say is polio. Thanks to vaccination program, the world is fully free of polio. We know what it did to millions of children. It's just 2020 that Nigeria eradicated the last case of polio. Africa and the world is polio free because of worldwide vaccination program today, thanks to science. You guys might, I don't know if you remember tetanus injection that is given to every child. It has been completely eradicated from the world because of vaccination run by science. When they were doing these vaccination programs, these Christian or these spiritualists, they didn't think that the government is trying to zombify the planet back then. Why is it now they are all afraid that the government is trying to zombify them? We have a disease, the flu, almost completely eradicated. The influenza flu, thanks to vaccination. We have hepatitis B, that is transmitted from mother to child, completely eradicated. We have hepatitis A. The vaccine was developed in 1995, and since then I've cut the cases of hepatitis A by 50% in the world today. We have the vaccine for pneumococcal disease, another form of Streptococcus pneumonia. It's caused by causes ear infection, sinus infection, pneumonia, and meningitis. It's also eradicated as well. We have the rotavirus that causes fever, watery diarrhea, vomiting, fever, abdominal pains in children, almost eradicated. We have chickenpox, almost completely eradicated due to massive vaccination program. We have rabies that is gotten from rabies dog. We have the rabies anti-rabies injection that is have been made possible by vaccination. I believe every human have the anti-rabies vaccine in their blood. We have the case of the bubonic plague in the 14th century, known as the Black Death, that escalated in 1346 to 1353. It was said to kill about 75 to 200 million people on the planet. Back then, there were no vaccine for this plague. It was just like the coronavirus, but coronavirus is much more better because now we have a vaccine. They were able to stop this plague by maintaining personal hygiene, social distancing, quarantine, isolation. People were staying in their houses. They were not moving around. They were keeping themselves clean. That was how they were able to eradicate this virus. We also have the most recent one, the 1918 influenza pandemic known as the Spanish flu. This one is much more like the coronavirus we have today. This pandemic was said to have killed over 500 million people worldwide, with over 600 cases, dead people in America alone. There was also no vaccine for this influenza, this Spanish flu. The World Health Organization, I don't think it was formed by then. There was no vaccine. According to the reports, you made use of non-pharmaceutical interventory methods, such as social isolation, quarantine, wearing of masks, personal hygiene, the use of disinfectants, and limitation of public gathering, which were applied unevenly. This was how they were able to stop this disease. The same methods we are now using right now to fight the COVID-19 virus. Social isolation, quarantine, washing of hands, wearing of masks. The only difference now we have a vaccine. We have more than one type of vaccine. So why are some of us still skeptical about taking this vaccine? Why are they so scared of the government? Me personally, I don't see eye to eye with my government as well, also with many governments, because I know that the aim of government is trying to control humans, and most governments are being hijacked by corrupt politicians and private companies with the aim of enriching themselves and controlling the masses. But in cases like this, whereby there is a natural disaster, I consider the coronavirus as a natural disaster. Of course, made by man, whether it's by God or by man, it is a natural disaster. And this is a time that all humans have to come together to join hands, even if we are quarreling, even if we have been fighting, even if we don't agree with each other. This is something that is trying to have the ability to reduce the population of the human race drastically. So we can come together to do what we can to stop this virus in its track, and maybe if we are successful, we can go back to our former lives. So this is not the time for quarreling. This is not the time for fighting with our governments. This is the time for working collectively with our governments together. So with this stubbornness by most of us, I think it is unnecessary, because the virus is serious, and the mindset that there are some form of poisons or toxins in the virus, the vaccine, that is going to change our DNA. I don't really buy that idea. I don't think it's going to affect our DNA in any way. It's going to only prevent work on the virus. It's not going to mutate us in any way. We have millions of scientists, independent researchers from every walk of life, every kind of religious orientation. If there are things in the vaccine that is going to mutate our DNA, people would have discovered it by now. So many people would have discovered it, and they would have spoken against it. But I don't see that happening. And I have taken the vaccine as well, almost 5 months ago. I didn't want to take it at first, but I did my research. I saw that it was safe, and science is doing the right thing, and we all need to come together. I took the vaccine, and this is my vaccination card to prove it. So it won't seem like I am saying stories. I have taken it twice. So I am still alive, and everything is fine with me. So it's not that I rely 100% on the government. I still don't trust the government as well. But I know that the vaccine, the essence of them of saying we should take it, is for our own good. And also to the vaccine makers, the pharmaceutical companies, they are also making money from these vaccines by making sure everybody gets the vaccine. They are making billions from this. That is why they don't want to give African countries the formula to make the vaccines by themselves, so that all those money will come to them. They are forcing African countries to buy the vaccine. But we'll get to that in another way. But if your government has already procured this vaccine, which many governments have done for you, which is free to take, why don't you take advantage? You can still be practicing your spirituality, eating all your natural foods to boost your immune system, using whatever metaphysical means you can to fight against the vaccine, the effects of the coronavirus or negative effects of the vaccine, and you can still take it as well. There is no harm in doing that. There is no harm in social distancing and in wearing your masks. But I've seen people that say that they are not going to take vaccine, they are not going to practice social distancing, they are not going to wear masks, they are not going to do anything the government is telling them to do. For me, it's just senseless, unnecessary stubbornness. If you are not going to take the vaccine, at least do one thing: wear your masks, social distance, isolate yourself, protect yourself. But when you say you don't want to do anything, you're just going to be like that because you don't want anybody to talk to you, or you feel that people are encroaching on your freedoms. If by chance you get the virus, you are on your own. There is nobody to blame. Nobody paid me to do this video. I didn't get 1 cent from the government. I'm just saying this, my personal opinion, with what I have seen in the spiritual community and also in the religious community. So I'm just adding my own 2 cents to the issue. If you are out there and you listen to this video, please try to consider what I am saying and protect yourself. Prevention is better than cure. They say heaven help those who also help themselves as well. It is better to be safe than sorry. I have seen many religious hardcore anti-vaxxers that have been killed by the coronavirus. Many pastors, ritualists that say they are not going to take the vaccine over their dead body, and they have been buried over their dead body. So protect yourself and your loved ones. Don't die and leave them prematurely. Take your vaccine, eat your natural foods, maintain your social distancing, quarantine yourself, and let's hope for the best. So this is what I have to say today. And also take into fact the consideration that God may not be perfect. He could just be like you, or even best, he could be very well a teenager. He is not perfect. Nature is not perfect. Humans are not perfect. You can see this. You can see the symptoms across the planet. So God is not a perfect being. Please, the sooner you come to this realization, the more you start seeing things in a different perspective. So I hope this information is well received. Like and share this video. Questions and comments are welcome. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care and bye.